Okay, friends, the joke is on me. I bought this necklace at the Salvation Army. They were asking $6 for it. Stopping in the Salvation Army to see if I can find anything, either to resell or repurpose. Ooh, this is cool. These are real stones, hon. What are we looking at here? Jade? It almost looks like jade, doesn't it?
Probably.
And I think this color is in style this year. That's a maybe. And, you know, it's knotted. So I thought, ooh, you know, somebody took the time to knot this. And it did have this little logo on it. This little signature on this little charm here. Had a little diamond on one side. And 1946. I didn't think it was made in the year 1946. It's far too modern. But what I didn't know is that this is Cato brand. Yes, Cato, the clothing store. So the big C is for Cato. 1946 is the line that they've called this jewelry. I'm kind of embarrassed to say, thought maybe this is jade. Maybe, but it's not. It's not at all. I spent a lot of time watching videos, researching jade, and I knew right away this wasn't jade or jadeite. But when I first saw it, I don't know, you know, I didn't know the brand and I got kind of excited about it. So as I said, the joke is on me. Anyway, it's Aventurine. I have some little samples here that I matched up to it. Yeah, Aventurine. Now, as far as the darker green stones, you know, these are the Aventurine, the light green. But I'm not 100% sure what the darker green is. I know it's not jade. No, not jade. I paid $6, so I'm definitely going to take this apart and upcycle it. Joke's on me, but I learned something new. And I imagine that the pendant here is a type of jasper. There's so many different types of jasper. As I said, it's knotted in between each stone. And this is when tiny little embroidery scissors can come in handy, because it'll get right in there and cut those knots. That's what we've got to work with, and that's all the string that came out of it. And as you saw, my beads were getting away from me, so I pulled out my bead mat. And this, yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. It's just not my favorite. I've got it prepped, and I did this a few days ahead before making the final video. So now I'm going to think on it for a couple days, and I'll be back to show you what we're going to do. Any ideas? Any suggestions? Keep watching. Have you ever purchased a necklace or some beads or some findings with really good intentions of working on it right away, but you don't? Weeks go by, maybe a month goes by, because you can't quite figure out what you want to do with it. That's the situation with this necklace that I bought probably 2 months ago. Took it apart several weeks ago, and it's still sitting here waiting for me to find some inspiration to figure out what to do with it. I know one thing, I'm not using this pendant with it. That's going bye-bye. So we have some Aventurine here, some light green, some dark green. I have several types of beads here. And my dilemma has been what color to put with it. That's what my dilemma has been truly all along. What other color can I introduce to these? Maybe they don't need any other color. Maybe I'm just trying too hard. But the designer in me, oh my gosh, I want to do something different than how I purchased it. So I've been going back and forth. I've tried just about everything I have around here. And the color that I think will work the best is black. Yes, black. And I found in my stash this bag of vintage beads. These little round tubular beads. Some are connected, some have come apart. And they're actually wood. So I have stone and wood, two natural materials. But black is the color that I think is going to work the best. I do have a couple of beads in here that I'm not going to be using, so I'll separate those. I kind of like it when there's 3 of them in a row. I like that look. So today I'm not going to make a necklace. No, not going to make a necklace. That's what it was when I bought it at the Salvation Army. I want to make a bracelet, and I'd like to make a 2-strand bracelet. The only thing is, I'm having trouble finding a connector. I'm also going to work with copper. I like this copper look with both of these, the green and the black. So I've set aside some copper components, but I still don't have a 2-strand connector. So you know me, I went on a hunt and I found this bracelet. And yes, it's perfectly fine as it is, although I will say the elastic has been around for a while. You've probably seen these bracelets somewhere. They come in all different colors and stones, but it's Aventurine. And I'm thinking, well, this has 2 holes, so I could do a 2-strand bracelet with it. So yes, I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to do it because why not? Ooh, there it goes. And it's very windy outside today, so if you hear something, I've got a little shrub outside my office window here, kind of hitting the outside of the house, or maybe even my window. I think it's just hitting the outside of the house. So we're going to work in these. Yes, I have a bead mat here today because for some reason these are rolling all over. But let me get some wire. Let's start with some wire, some 49-strand wire. I'm going to make a 7.5-inch bracelet. That's the goal. But you know we're doing 2 strands today, so I need another one. So hopefully I have enough for this project. Let's clip 2 ends together. 2 ends of the wire. Make sure it's not going to slide through my little clip. But before we go too far, let's see if this is going to look right, because I'm counting on it to help me with making the 2-strand bracelet. Let's make them different instead of the same. And let's find some of these little beads that I have here to work in. Let's get a scoop of them. I know some of them look like crimp tubes, but they're not. What I was going for is this little bead, this little square bead. It's metal. I haven't done a double strand bracelet for a long time. I am going to tuck one of the strands under my bead mat. So let's start with this really pastel green and 3 of the black beads and another light green, another little metal cube, brighter green. If you like this video, give it a like, comment, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe. So let's take a look at where we are with this. As I sat here and really looked at it, I decided that although the color black works fine with this, I think it actually takes away from the bracelet. Were you thinking the same thing and saying, Vicki, don't do that? No, you don't need those beads. It just wasn't doing anything for it. And this time I'm going to work out from the center. Right here's my center. I do like the little cubes. I don't have a problem with that. No problem there. Just going to do one side at a time. That looks nicer already without the black. Let's do the same pattern on the other side. Take another look. So far, so good. I'm just going to eliminate these completely. Just put them over here in the corner for another project someday. Start the second row. I'm going to clip these ends together, making sure they're caught in the clip. Now I can make this second row any pattern I want as long as my spacing pretty much matches the section in between. I can put pretty much anything I want here, but we have these little round ones. Can I get them to match up evenly is the question. I don't know yet. I'm going to experiment here for a little bit. How am I doing? I think I went a little bit too long. The reason I'm trying to keep these the same length as the other row is because I have to fit it through here, and I want it to, how can I say it? I don't want it to be uneven. Let's try this. Okay, that's what I was going for. I wanted the pattern to be similar in length. Hope I can zoom in here for you. Similar in length, but not matching up directly across from each other. So this is where we are with everything. The one thing that I don't have, I just don't have it, is a copper tone tube bead. I don't have one. So that's too bad, but that is the way it is. I don't have one. I have to go to silver. Oh, I need 4 of those. Let's start with 1 wire at a time. I'm going to clip this one off so it doesn't get away from me. I have the tiny little crimp tube. I'm going to run it through the ring part of the toggle clasp. You know, the one time I cut all this wire and I have far more than I need, but better than not having enough. Just tightening this up. As you see, I've got plenty of wire to work with, so I'm not worried about not having enough. And I'm going to crimp this. I'm a little concerned about my first crimping tube. It actually is pulling out a little bit, and that is not good. You do not want that thing sliding around on there. So I am going to lose this crimping tube. Whoop, I lost it all right. And do another one. This is the time to check it, not after you've finished everything and cut everything. Allowing a little bit of room for movement. So I think I have it tight. It's still sliding out. That's another bum crimp tube. Yeah, I've just about had it with these. The wires are side by side. First part, the front part, in the center. And crimp it again. Keep opening up again. It's just like a vicious cycle where I just keep opening it back up every single time I try to crimp it. I've never had this much trouble. My takeaway today is you can't trust every crimp tube. You just can't trust it to do its job, even though part of the job is our responsibility. Whoa, I had to take a little chill break on that one because those crimp tubes were so challenging. Now I have tugged at this and tugged at it and nothing's coming apart. So I'm finally ready to clip this, but on occasion I get a tube bead that gives me a run for my money, but that was a little bit insane. It's a two-way street. If the bead is too big or the bead's not working right, crimp tube bead I'm referring to, then you just gotta try another one, or try another one, or try another one. Am I gonna be able to get this through here? Don't tell me that I can't get this toggle through here. Do not tell me that. Okay, got it. Oh my gosh. Challenging. Anybody say challenging? 7 1/4, not 7 1/2. And you can't add an extension chain when you do a toggle. Things go easy and some things don't. This is one of those days where, like I said, it gave me a run for my money, although there's no money to be made yet. Let me clean this up a little bit. You know, toggles are always a little more challenging to put on than a lobster clasp, at least by yourself. I have 2 ear wires here. We need to make something with it. I don't have any copper head pins. Oh gosh, I forgot about that. So since I don't have any copper, I'm going to go with gold. Now, will these head pins fall through this square bead, cube bead? I think I'm okay. These can't be made into earrings because they have 2 holes. I'm trying to fit one of every bead in here that I used for the bracelet, but that may not be doable. I can't seem to put all 3 beads in here and have it look the way that I want it to look. And I most certainly don't want a Christmas tree. So this is kind of what I've come up with. Right angle, trim it down to about 1/4 inch. Make a loop. Add the ear wire. After finishing the bracelet and trying it on a few times, I realized how hard it is to get the bar of the toggle clasp through here. I just didn't have enough beads right here to make it easy. And I wasn't happy with having to use the silver crimp tubes on here, which were not cooperating very well. So I stopped in our local stores and I think I got these. We're in Hobby Lobby now. Do you see how large that is compared to this one? The one I have is on the left and this one is on the right. This one is the mighty one. It's marked at the top. And you can see it's larger here. This is what I've been using. Apparently some of the crimp tubes I have require this one, the standard. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a standard. But I still have the same issue where I can't get... They don't have any copper crimping tubes. It probably should go right here, but they don't have any copper tubes. Oh, too bad. All they have is this dark bronze, which is better than probably the silver. And let's take a look at these. These are 2mm crimp tubes. I use 0.018 wire, and it goes up to 2 with a standard crimping tool. I guess I'll take these home. They're on sale, 50% off, like Hobby Lobby always is. These are 2mm crimp tubes. They were just very limited on finishes, so I bought these darker ones. So I went ahead and also picked up some of these antique bronze lobster clasp and some chain. I wasn't planning on this, so it looks like I'm switching to this color, and I think I'm going to go ahead and switch to a lobster clasp with an extension chain. That's the plan here. So I'm going to take this apart and restring it.
Walk with me. Let's leave the past behind. Walk with me. There's something else we need to find. Say you'll go.
As I said, I'm not going to go with these copper anymore. I'll set this aside. I'm going to switch to a lobster clasp. So I have a little more flexibility. But I do know that the tube beads did slip through the little holes on here. When I use the silver ones, they slipped through these holes. I couldn't believe it that they fit through here. I'm not sure what's going to happen with these, but to prevent any serious issues, I'm going to add another bead here. Tiny little metal beads. We'll see how this works out. This is before the crimp tube. But first of all, I need to make sure this bead doesn't slip through here, and it does not. So that's good. The question is, can I get the wire back through this bead? I might as well test it now. Can I get it back through? Yes, I can. Whew, that's a relief. I can get this back through, and that was why I didn't use these to begin with. I didn't think it was going to allow the wire to go back through. I should have tested it before. So let's see. These are not the exact color that I wanted, but this is the direction I'm going. Sometimes you have to work with what you have available, and as I said, I didn't like the silver crimp tubes with the copper. I've never used these crimp tubes before. I don't know what to expect. I do know that I need 4 of them, because although I can get 1 wire back through that little round bead, I'm pretty certain I'm not going to get 2. So I can't bring the wires together. 4 crimp tubes. And I have some jump rings. Each strand needs its own crimp tube. Then I'm going to thread it through the jump ring. Go back through. This is really hard to show you, but I'm attempting to go back through the crimp tube. In fact, I'm going to take this wire out of here for now. Just going to set that aside. Focus on one at a time here. You saw me get it through the first time. Can I get it through another time? Yes, finally. Then through the square cube bead, as I call it. And then we'll run it through a few of the beads, trying to get it through 1 large bead. There we go. I'm just going to pull this down. I don't need that much wire going through, so I'm just going to pull it down a little bit, pushing those to the end so that I have plenty of wire to work with when I get to the other end. And I want a little bit of flexibility on this jump ring. And I can actually push all the beads out right now, out of my way. Now here's the thing. I've been using this crimping tool for years. So I don't know if it's the crimping tool or those crimp tube beads where I was having so much trouble yesterday with them not crimping. I'm going to try my old tool before I get into the new one that I bought, and I thought this was going to be the solution. Well, they look pretty much the same. So it looks like I have the standard crimping tool already. I couldn't find much difference. I know it's not the Mighty Grand, and I don't think it's the Micro Petite. So I actually end up buying what I already had at Hobby Lobby yesterday. But I'm going to try my old tool. To the outside first, crimp it once. Then I'm going to the middle, crimp it, rotate it, going to the outside, and crimp it again. Again, I've never worked with these crimp tubes before. Is it going to come undone? Feels pretty good, but I'm pulling out of those beads. I need to get those back up there. It looks like it's going to hold. Let's go ahead and get the beads to this end. I do not need that long of a extra wire, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that off right now. Push everything down. All right, the second strand. I have the cube bead, the round bead, and the crimp tube already on here. And I'm just making sure everything's lying in the right direction. I got all of these correct, and they're good. I'm going to pull this wire down. I do not need that much wire to work with. I'm pulling it down and keeping it clamped. I need to go through the same jump ring, because that's how I've decided to do it, same jump ring, and come back through the crimp tube, small metal bead. Good, went through easier this time. The cube bead, and a few of the stone beads. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to push these down a little more, just a little more. And I can push these out of my way to crimp this. And I'm going to turn it upside down so it's facing me. I'm allowing a little bit of the wire again so that it has some movement and flexibility. Let's do this. First position, second position. I don't know if you can see what it looks like here. Rotate it back to first position. Is it going to come loose? Let's test it. Feels good to me. Pushing the beads up tight, trim off this tail with my clippers. Put this back over. Push the beads all the way down. So on this end I'm adding some extension chain. For some reason the jump ring is twisting on me. Let's go ahead and see what happens if we add some extension chain to that. This is just a necklace actually that I'm taking apart. It already comes with a lobster clasp and this extension here, but I'm not going to use that part. I like this part of the chain. In fact, I'm going to go with this first loop of the chain itself. Here's the pattern. Oval loops and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 round chain lengths. I'm going to take this down to just one round to connect into here. Half tempted to just go with the oval, to tell you the truth. Maybe I will. And typically I only make my extension chains about 1.5 inches. I don't know. I think I'm only going to go to 1 inch. And I'm going to let this oval link be the last one instead of the small rounds. I didn't plan to finish that end first, but that's how it ended up. I'm not happy with this twisting like this. I really don't know what I can do to fix it. That's where we are with that. Now let's go to this end and add one of the tiny little metal beads, then the crimp tube, making sure everything's pushed down. Well, guess what? If these are closed, I can't use these to connect to the lobster clasp. So I can wire right into the lobster clasp. That's not what I was originally planning to do. I was going to allow a jump ring there. All right, I think I'm going to attempt again to just run it through the jump ring, and then I'll connect this to the jump ring with a split jump ring. Try to do better on this so that it doesn't twist on me. See if I can do a better job.
say you'll go. Don't make me wait. There's no need to hesitate. Let's make footprints in sand. Let's make miracles come home.
Pulling on the wire, tightening it up, but not too tight. It's always trickier when you're working with 2 strands. I mean, 1 strand is pretty easy. I think it's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and crimp this.
Let's make miracles come hold my hand. It's fine. Something new.
Is it crimped? Is it closed? Is it going to pull out? No, it's not going to pull out. I'm going to cut this off. Or maybe I won't yet. Maybe I'll cut it down. How's that? I'm going to wait till I cut it all the way. I want to make sure the rest of this lays okay. Okay, this is our last strand to finish it up.
Come hold my hand. It's fine. Something new. Me and you.
figure out which end I need to pull on to tighten this up. Because you don't want to pull on the tail end, you want to pull on the end that has the beads on it.
Blue is the sky.
Okay, that's looking pretty good. Just making sure the beads are pushed down. And this is trickier. This last one, when I don't have any room to really separate these, it's a little trickier. I'm going to front of the crimp tool, the middle. Just didn't feel like it did anything, to tell you the truth. Rotate it, and the front part again. It's spinning on me. Sometimes I feel like I'm just uncrimping it, if you know what I mean. If you've ever done this, I think you know what I mean. You feel like you're just opening it back up. It's just spinning on me. I'm not convinced that I have it crimped. Let me come in from this direction. If you work it too much, you end up breaking it or just opening it back up. If it's sliding on here, which it is, it's not crimped right. I'm going to try one more time, risking that I might have to redo it. Oh, it crimped pretty good there. Or did it? Ah, it broke. See, there's a good example. It broke off. I over crimped it. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt to demonstrate that this happens. I overworked it, so I need to back off a little bit and get a new crimp tube. We're going to get it this time.
Blue is the sky, like the color of your eyes. Blue is your heart. It's been like that from the start. Say you'll stay till the morning light.
The battle of the crimp tubes. What can I say today and yesterday? Trim off the tails. Let's use this little jump ring that I have from the chain to attach the lobster clasp. Lobster clasp is on. Still have a little twisty here. That might work its way out. There is a front and the back to these double hole beads. One side is flat, one side has a slight curve to it. Without the extension chain, it's at 8 inches. With the extension chain out all the way, it's about 9 1/4, almost 9 1/2. Let's try it on. I decided to make another one that is smaller with a slightly different pattern.
Is the sky, like the color of your eyes. Blue is your heart. It's been like that from the start. Say you'll stay till the morning light. I'll help you through the fight. Let's make footprints in the sand. Let's make miracles. Come hold my hand. Let's find something new.
Maybe I will just have one clear, one solid, one clear, one solid on here. I'm running out of some of the beads, shortening it up a little bit. So this is where I am with it. You can see I added 4 of the double hole beads, the Aventurine beads, instead of 3 this time. 3 beads in between the cube beads. So different pattern. This is all I have left.
Me and
Did it crimp? It looks like it just completely, and it broke. It broke. I can tell that it broke. This is getting very frustrating. Is it time to open up that new crimping tool? Is it my crimping tool? Is it possible that my crimping tool is worn out after all these years? I mean, I probably have used it for 10 years. I got it to work on the first one. If it doesn't work this time, I am going to open up the new one. It looks like it just flattened it out. I don't see where it did a good crimping job. All right, I'm going to open up the new crimping tool. I said I would. Is it me? Is it the tube? Is it the tool? This one doesn't have even any spring to it anymore. They look pretty close to the same to me. Third try through the jump ring. And you don't want your wire crossing over itself. So I'm trying to be careful of that too. Here we go. New crimping tool. First part. Move it to the second part. Now that felt like it really put a bend in it. I will admit, that put a nice bend in it, finally. Now, can I get it to rotate and do the front part and get it to work? Well, by golly, it looks really good. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks really good. I might be blaming the crimping tool. Might be.
It's a new day for a high. It's another day to try to get by. And ooh, yeah, I'm feeling now every second, every hour of the day. Yeah. It's a new day for a high. Yeah.
This is the new crimping tool. It feels like it's crimping good. It feels good, and it did. It crimped really good.
It's a new day for good times. I just turn the page, let it write what it likes. And ooh, yeah, I feel it now. Every atom in my body feels okay. Yeah. It's a new day for good times.
I have two bracelets now. This is the second one. I'm just going to make a simple earring, a couple of head pins. These are not gold. They're kind of a antique brass. So what did we learn from making these double strand bracelets? We learned that these type of stretch bracelets with the double holes can make great connectors for bracelets. And they are stone and they are pretty, and you'll probably find these when you're out thrifting or going to garage sales or church sales. You'll probably find these. So we learned that we can take those apart and make these into connectors. Well, double strand bracelets take a lot more thought, is a little more challenging, a little more time. You have to think about whether you want to have random beads in between or if you want to have a pattern. We learned that connecting them to a single jump ring, preferably a closed jump ring, can be a little bit challenging. We learned that crimping tools can get old after a decade or so, maybe sooner, and sometimes you have to replace them. At the same time, not all crimp tubes are created equal, so it's a combination, but I think I'm going to retire my old crimping tool. When you're buying your crimping tool, look at the back, look at whether you're getting a micro, standard, or mighty grand. I don't think I'll ever have a need for a mighty grand. My new one is marked standard. My old one doesn't have any marking on it, but my new one does say, you probably can't see it here, but it says standard. A lot of takeaways from today's video. I decided to add a little bead at the end of the extension chain. Below this video, you'll find a link for our eBay store, Avante Avenue, where we have a category for our Avante jewelry. Thanks for watching. I'm Vicki with Avante Jewelry, and Mark and I will see you soon.